Hi and welcome to today's DIY video. We are going to create a cute little mini boho arrangement. You're going to get to add some wood flowers and even create your own palm fan spear. So to get started, here are the things that you should have. You should have a little mini container. You're going to have your foam, your moss, your greenery, of course some wires, your flowers, and then we've got your paper and your fun dried fillers, all which is going to go and be a part of this arrangement. So the first thing we're going to do is take your cute little jar and we're going to add your floral foam to this. So you're just going to press it in just like that, nothing crazy. And you're going to take your moss. Now you may not need all of this. I like to create like a little circle. If there's too much more than you need, then you can ditch some, and you're going to put it on top. So I can see it's way too much, so I'm going to cut a little bit of this off so I don't use all of it. And really what we want to do is just fill in around those edges so that we don't see where the floral foam is. It gets a little messy, and so you definitely want to do this with some garbage nearby. You don't have to worry too much because once the greenery's in, it will kind of hold the moss down. So once we take and get a little bit of that mess out of the way, you are now going to add your greenery. So we have two kinds of greenery. We have the ruscus and then we have the eucalyptus. So with this, what I like to do is take this and I want to push my pieces up. There we go. And if it was a little bit tough at first, kind of twist it around and it'll go up. So same thing. If I left it nice and long like this, it would be kind of hard to get that full look in the arrangement. So we're going to just push it up a little bit. And we're going to do the same thing on the ruscus. So right now we just have it here. I'm going to spread these pieces up to the top. I like to create just like a bunch near the top, and then I cut the stems a little bit shorter. So again, just pull this up. That. So the stems are really long and we'll cut them as we need to. These ones are pretty short, at least to start, so I'm going to just kind of see how they go. So I definitely want to know that I want like a back to the arrangement, and then I want it to come out to the sides and to the front. So when I'm doing this, I'm going to start with my eucalyptus, and I'm going to kind of do it on each. I think I want to do the eucalyptus more towards the front. So one piece of eucalyptus kind of more towards the front. And then I'm going to do one piece of eucalyptus more in the center and going up so that it looks a little bit like this. Now with my ruscus and the way too long handles, I am going to trim these shorter. So using your wire cutters, I'm using aviation snips, but any kind of wire cutters you have in your house will work. The hardest part to get through is actually the plastic. So I'm going to come in on the sides of the arrangement now, kind of sneaking between the two, and a couple of the pieces will float in both directions, and I can kind of move my greenery around however I need to. So we've got the basics of this, and we're kind of ready to add our flowers. I have a spot in the back where my fan spear is going to go and stick up and get nestled in. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add our flowers. So for a moment I'm going to put this aside, and we're going to unpackage your little loose flowers. What I'm going to do to stem these is cut a couple. I'm going to just pre-cut a couple stems. They don't need to be super long because I know kind of where they're going to go, and they don't necessarily have to stick up too high. So I'm going to just put a little glue on the bottom, gently hold on the sides, twist and push. If a flower is giving you any troubles at all, grab a toothpick or something with a little point on the end, and then you can poke a little hole, add the glue, and then put this in. So if this is too tall, which I don't think it will be, I can cut the wire more. But what I kind of want to do is add this one front and center, kind of be the star of the show right there. I'm going to go and stem my other ones real quick. So I'm going to put some little doodads in right there. And with this arrangement, you can kind of go however you like with these. The moss was attached to my flower. I think this one might be a little short, actually. You can go for symmetry. You can go with a little bit of a different angle if you want, and color block. It's really up to you. And you'll save that extra piece of wire for your fan spear. This one has a kind of a lot of extra on the end, so I'm going to cut that off. You don't have to. but you can. And so once you stem all of your flowers, we're ready to put them in. So when I come back to this, I definitely want to look at it and sort of give it a spin and see where I want to do my flowers. So I'm going to come in next with my red flowers, and I like the idea of them kind of poking out a little bit here on the side. I do want to kind of hide my wire in a little bit. So you can see I just snuck it in there. I'm going to do another red one, but I kind of want to go on the same side. I like symmetry, but you could also do maybe a red one higher up as well, if you like the idea, or maybe one a little bit down lower. And you're just going to poke that right in the floral foam. It doesn't go in at first, just find another spot. You might be hitting a wire of another flower or something like that. If you don't like the angle, you can just bend your wire a little bit, move your greenery around. This one I want to kind of go down low, right down in here, I think. Just peeking right out from the bottom there. And then this one, I want to do this one, actually. I'm going to move my red flower. So I'm going to move my red flower down a little bit. I said I want it to come a little bit more towards the front, and the pink one's going to go more where that red one was. And I'll just show you in a moment here. Let's give a little bit of levels there. There we go. And then I'm going to put this one a little higher up, poking up kind of from the top there. Angle my flowers. This one's very much about, for me, being like a front and center arrangement. And we are going to be making a little palm spear. It could look like this. You might want to trim some little pieces on it and give it that like jagged edge. Either way, totally up to you. So the secret is this, as a small arrangement, so you actually don't want to use this full sheet of paper by any means. So I kind of cut like a little triangle. Going about like around halfway, maybe a little more on this page. So I get the sense of where my triangle is. And just so you can see, you can play around with this, but essentially what I'm doing is I think about where is halfway on the page. And to be honest, I could go halfway. I was going to go a little bigger. We'll go halfway. Find halfway on your page, fold it over so you've got a little triangle, and then you're going to cut that square out. Just like that. Alright, so we've got our basic little shape right here. Not too bad, right? And so from this square, we are actually going to create your fan spear. And what's going to happen is kind of like a bell shape is what you're going to draw. So I'm going to turn this down so that you can see a little more closely. So we are going to do a little bell shape. I like to do that by just like lightly folding my paper. We're going to do a lot of folds on this anyway, so these extra folds won't matter. And I think about making just that bell shape. So it's going to go down, up, and around to the top. If you want to get a sense of that, I will show you once I've cut it out. So, starting at that bottom corner, coming in, and then up, and then around. I think I cut mine a little, I'm going to make mine a little shorter than the full piece. It doesn't need to go the whole way. I'll also provide a link if you want to learn how to make some of the other kinds as well. So, let's see here. Oops. Yeah, I can add that link in later for you. So what you're going to do is take your bell shape. It looks like this. And we are going to do some folding. So here we go. Starting at the bottom, just little, like, I don't know, maybe half-inch, quarter-inch folds. It really depends on how big or little you want to make them. I didn't do very big folds. I kept them kind of small. And so you can see like this. Like that. And I'm just going to accordion or fan fold this until I get to the top. Don't stress too much if it doesn't look absolutely perfect, because the way it'll come together, it'll be okay if you didn't fold every one exactly the same. So nice creases, because those creases are going to be the creases of your fan spear. And so you've got something that looks like this, right, like that. And all we're going to do is fold this into the center. And what you want to do is make sure that these little pointy triangular spots there, that those match up is what you're really trying to do. And then once you've got those matched up, I kind of hold it tight for a second there. And then I bend it at the bottom. And then I'm going to cut right where that crease is, just so that it's not too bulky. Ooh. And then we are going to glue these together. And you can use regular glue. You can use your hot glue. It's really up to you what you want to do there. And so I'm just going to do a little bead of glue all the way down. Not too much, because you don't want it to stick up weird or anything like that. You need to match those up the best you can. And then you're going to squeeze it together, holding just for a moment so that it gets nice. Yeah. Oh, that middle section did not glue, which is where using regular glue might work better there in case it just doesn't glue right. Although I used hot glue in my last one, so probably just didn't put enough in that section. All right, so we've got, this is a really tiny one, so I'll probably say you might want to cut yours a little bit bigger than I did. So I'll probably go back and show you how to do that. So we've got this little mini fan spear here. It's absolutely adorable. And all we're going to do is put your wire inside of this. So I look at the side that looks like usually is the cut edge on the back. And I do and just put like a little, on one of those side grooves there, folds, I put some glue, my wire, and again I'm just going to hold and push that together. You don't need your wire to stick up super far out by any means. Like, you can keep it pretty small. And then you're just going to cut like a little piece here. This is going to be our bottom wrap. Doesn't need a ton, so whatever little piece you've got is fine. And this is going to wrap around the bottom of this to sort of hold it together like this. And then we will fan it out. So, oh, my glue gun is dying. That's why it's working. My glue gun is rechargeable and its juice is out. All right, so we're going to fold this around. If it's too many pieces, you can just cut it. Add your dab of glue there. Whoop. Squeeze it nice and good. And then you've got your tiny little spear. You're just going to kind of pull the pieces out. Give it that shape that you like. So this is the midget version. The one I made earlier was obviously a lot bigger, so you're going to probably make a larger version. So I'm going to give you some better directions on the actual measurements that you need, but the way you make it is exactly the same to create this cute little fan spear. If you don't like how pointy it is at the top, you can go in and trim at the very top and make the point a little bit less pronounced as well. And you can even go in and you can add little cuts like you see on this one. All right, so when you put your fan spear in, bring it back to here, pull you up a little bit. When you put your fan spear in, it's going to go in the back. I got my little one. This one might get two. So it's going to go towards the back of the arrangement, and whatever side you think is the cutest is the side you can have facing front. You kind of do want to nestle it a little between the greenery so that people don't see the wire necessarily. And if it's too tall, like this one's maybe a little tall, you can just cut that wire a little bit and come right in. Figure out exactly where I want it to go here. If you want it right in the center, if you want it to be a little bit off center. I like off center, I think. Maybe, no, maybe not. Maybe off center the other way. Just got to kind of play around with it a little bit. And you can also change up how you have the greenery. So if you prefer the other greenery in the center, and the eucalyptus coming out the sides, you can do that also. Aha, there we go. Now we've got my little fan spear. I feel like I need to move my eucalyptus around a little bit there. Okay, so we've got the basics happening with this. Now we get to add the fun stuff. I kind of want to add my tiny one. I like to start with the, let's see, you've got the bunny's tails and you've got the pompous, and then you've got some baby's breath. So I'm going to start the baby's breath first. And what you're going to do is, it might come in little pieces, it might already be broken apart, but you're going to pull little pieces, and you're going to kind of just go and look for where are there little gaps where you know you need something. So for me, I can see over here, I feel like I could just use a little something more. Baby's breath stems will go into the floral foam. You just have to be kind of gentle with them. So hold them towards the bottom, and don't just jab from the top necessarily. And then once you've got it in, you can start spread the baby's breath and the greenery, intertwine it together if you want to a little bit, so it feels like connected. And so then, same thing, I kind of want to just use varying amounts in different spots around my arrangement and fill in with the baby's breath. And just do a few pieces, like down here, kind of like the idea of doing some in front of the little flower in the front, so to hide the base. And I'll probably come in and add a little bit more. Maybe a piece kind of in the center here, like that. But I've still got 2 other fillers, so I don't want to go crazy. If I have some left over, I could always see where I really want to add it in the end. Sometimes the eucalyptus stems get in the way, I'm not going to lie. This one may not go into the floral foam just because I feel like my eucalyptus is in the way. But the eucalyptus will probably hold it in where it needs to go. Yeah, there we go. Nope, I'm going to move it. There we go. Okay, now I'm happy. So, added my baby's breath, and it is preserved baby's breath, so it's not dry, it's still a little flexible. I'm going to come in with my pampas. This is really a lot longer, but we are going to kind of see if I need to cut it. So if you need to cut it, no big deal. It depends how much you want it to stick out. So this is kind of sticking out a little too much for me, and you can just cut these with scissors. And once you do, what I do is just pull off a little bit on the bottom so that you have a pointy section to stick it in. And then I'm going to decide, like, where do I want to have these cute little pampas going out. And this has got a stem at the bottom that you can absolutely stick right in. So just pulling off a little bit on the bottom. This is kind of a messy, fuzzy craft today. I kind of want one coming out over here on the side. Ooh. Yeah. And then I'm going to do one more. And let's see. I kind of like it coming a little bit more forward and adding that dimension. So I've added my pampas, and then I've got all these fuzzies that I'm going to get rid of over here. Kind of looks like a bunny just shed all its fur. We have got 5 little cute bunny's tails, which really are just another form of something similar to a pampas grass. These have stems that are very delicate. And so these we're going to really utilize more our glue gun and just our placement to give it that little extra staying power that we need. Don't try to stick these stems inside by any means. So I'm going to get an idea of where I want them. The stems will be too long, so you can just break those easily and kind of place like where you think they look good. And once you've got a spot where they look good, you can just add a little glue onto them, nestle it right in. You're kind of good to go. It depends how much you want them to stick up. If you want them to stick up a lot, you can take an extra piece of wire from something you've cut or from an extra piece you have, and you can kind of glue it onto the wire if you do want to jab it in and have it sticking up. So feel free to use that if you want. Some of them have a thicker stem, so this one I'm going to test it out. You probably could actually, as long as it had a little bit of some greenery around to nestle it into. You might carefully be able to put it into the floral foam. Oh, look, I did. Yep. So that one I was actually able to put right into the floral foam. So if its stem feels strong enough, hold it down low so it won't break, and then gently you can push that in. Let's see. Just depends on what you like. And I'm really just trying to spread them out, so I don't necessarily want them right on top of the pampas. And I want to make sure I get them at all the different angles. That was 1, 2, 3. I'm going to do 4. This one's going to come out here in the front. I'll turn around and show you in a minute. It's pretty forgiving, so if you don't like where you put it, you can move it. You can move a flower. Anything you'd like. One more. This one's got like a funky bend to it, so actually thinking it might be a good one to kind of put towards the front here. I'm not going to try to get this one in the foam. I'm going to get its placement. Hide the funky stem. And honestly, if you don't like the funky stem, you could break this right off and then just glue this right onto a leaf, onto the eucalyptus leaf or something like that if you wanted also. Just to give it that extra hold wherever you would really like it. Alright, so that one is in. I kind of snuck it in real little, like I didn't go crazy. And I've got a little more baby's breath, so I think I might add just a smidgen more in here. I really like the idea of filling a little more on the bottom of my arrangement here. kind of on the side and the bottom. Oh, that stem broke. Ooh. Baby's breath. What you doing to me? No fear, I can still put it in. If for some reason a stem breaks on your baby's breath and you really want it in a spot, you could also glue it to a wire as well. So you always have that option. I'm just kind of looking on the sides and thinking where do I want to fill, but you can also look on the top. It wouldn't be a bad idea to probably add a little bit more right in the back there. So in the end, you've got this cute little arrangement that looks like this. If you happen to accidentally make a mini palm spear like this, you can stick it in somewhere as well. But that's it. It's super simple and easy. If you like it as is, perfect. If you want to add a scent to this, you can drop some essential oils, some fragrance oils right into the center of a petal or right on the back side of a petal, and you can give it that scent that you like. It could be anything from a flowery scent to something that just smells yummy like black raspberry. Totally up to you. You can find those online. You can find them also in the craft store in the soap making section as well. So here's a cute arrangement. Hopefully you will enjoy it or somebody else will enjoy it. And if you have any questions, I'm always just an email away. Have So we are going to create the palm fan spear that you see right here in this arrangement. Here's the mini one, but we're going to make them a lot bigger. So taking your full piece of paper, you are just going to fold a nice big square. Find out where that square is, and then we're going to cut that extra bit off here. So we're going to start with a decent size piece to make sure that our palm spear is big enough to really be the star of this arrangement. So you've got a nice square. Perfect. We're going to fold it in half the other way. I think back in school we called this the hot dog fold. So once I know where this is, I also want to figure out where the center is. So I'm going to give it not like a solid fold, but just a little crease, just like that. What's important is that you're going to be cutting from the side that has the opening. Do not cut the side that is folded. So I'm going to take that extra piece that I just cut, and I'm going to either draw with draw with a pen, or just with my own eyeball, this from the point in the center, from that little crease, all the way down to the corner. I don't feel like getting out a pencil, so I'm just going to kind of do it on my own. It doesn't have to be exact, doesn't have to be perfect, but the idea is we're just cutting up in that general vicinity in that direction. So what you've got is a shape that looks like this. So we are going to take the top and we're going to round it. So it's not an exact science where you start. I mean, I'm just going to maybe go a couple inches down from this and just curve right here. So wherever you feel like going is really fine. It's almost like we're curving the top of the bell shape there. A little pointy. So in the end, we've got this. I'm going to open it up. It has this shape. So our next step is going to be to fold. Lots of folding. Here we go. So you can decide how big you want to make these. If you want to get out a ruler and make sure you're doing it perfectly evenly, be my guest. I guess more eyeball it. You know, there's not a single palm fan spear out there that looks like nature made it exactly perfectly, so I wouldn't stress it too much. You're just going to kind of, it seems a little bit not the same size. There we go. You're just going to kind of eyeball it and flip-flop it back and forth. Do your accordion fold. Crease it. You can use your fingers. If you do a lot of paper crafts and you have a creaser, you can go for it. Those are nice, but we're not going to do too much folding, so this shouldn't kill your fingers. Back and forth, back and forth. And you can tell if you're starting to get a little uneven, and if you do, you can just kind of adjust it as you go. As you near the top, just know that if the top doesn't have a full width of the fold, that's okay. I feel like I'm definitely folding mine crooked, but all good. because I'm not staring at it like right from on top. I've kind of got a little bit farther away from me than I normally would. Okay, we've almost made it. There we go. Last fold right here. Woo. Give it my good crease, and then we are going to take this and we're going to fold it so the pointy parts meet at the top. And when you figure out where that is, you're going to kind of hold it tight right there and crease at the bottom, just like this. When I know where my crease is, that's perfect. All right, we're going to be gluing this together, and then we'll be putting our stick in here. So you can keep these together. I actually kind of like to, I don't know, you can cut the bottom apart or you can keep it together. It's up to you. If it starts to feel too bulky and you want to cut the bottom, I would do it now. I'm going to show you on this one how you don't cut the bottom, but you could if it felt too much for you. So we're going to come in here, we're going to glue, and my glue gun actually died, so I'm going to show you how you can just use this with regular, just kid craft glue, which is fine on paper. It takes a little bit to dry, but not too much. It can be a little sticky. And you're just going to come in, push it together, make sure that they lined up good, which is what I did not do first. There we go. All right. Give it a little hold and squeeze, especially there at the top. I think that's probably one of the most important parts. Get any excess glue away. If any on any other pieces. Can work that out. And sometimes a little extra glue will get on another piece. You have to just sort of open it back up. Make sure they don't stick. So you got the basics of your palm fan spear. That is like a tongue twister right here. What's going to happen next is you're going to come in with your wire, wherever that is. I've got a piece over here. It's really thin wire, actually. I don't have any extra pieces, so we will just use the thin wire. So with your thin wire, your thick wire, whatever you've got, we're going to come in and we're going to just glue it right in. I always look for, like, I call it the ugly side, right? The side that you kind of like got the glued pieces together on. It's going to come in there. Sometimes you have to do like a little snip with your scissors just to give it a spot for the wire. It doesn't need to be much. It's like a tiny little snip right there. I'm going to sneak this in. Now, I don't want you to put the wire real high up on it. I'll show you in a second. This is hard because I'm using way too thin of a gauge wire, but we'll make it work. So I'm sneaking that wire in. Okay. I'm going to, of course, glue it, but I just put it like a little teeny, like right up to here. It doesn't need to be a ton. We're going to get that glued in. Like I said, this would be the spot. If you wanted to, you could cut at the bottom. Of course, I have to use my Elmer's glue. So, little glue right there. So you're going to take your excess paper that you had, just like this, and you are going to cut just a little piece that's going to go around. It's okay if you've got too much. This is a couple inches worth. You can always trim it a little more later. It's better to have too much than not enough. And this is just going to go around the bottom. So what's going to happen is we're going to pinch this together. I'm going to do more glue on the sides here. All right, I'm telling you, I have to use a bigger wire. We're going to cheat and just pull it out of this one. There we go. All right, a real wire in there now. Put a little glue right here on this side and on this side. And I'm going to take my piece of paper and it's going to wrap it right there, and we're going to go around. And this is going to keep this held together. Reinforce as you get to the end with some more glue. Hold that down for a second because you don't want this to pop up too soon. Oh my goodness, I'm just having... This is why hot glue guns are way better. I'm so used to the hot glue gun drying really fast. All right. Once you've got this here, and my wire is now looking crazy, then you just kind of fan this out a little bit, however you like. And if you like it as is, cool. If you want to go in and add like some little jaggy cuts, because if you look at a real palm fan spear, they're not necessarily perfect, and sometimes they've got some jaggy edges. So you can come in and you can do little cuts if you want to, and you're going to sort of do them on like the crease. So when you come in, you would cut from like a pointy part down. We would just do like a little diagonal triangle cut right in there. And so you can see when I do that, it just creates these little jaggy pieces like this. If you like that look a little bit better. But I kind of like it just how it is, and this is perfect to pop right into your arrangement. Perfect little size. If you would like to make them a little bit bigger, you can. We just need a little bit of a larger paper. This also works great if you have a brown paper bag lying around your house, if you have any kind of packing paper that you got with a package that has that craft paper feel to it, and you could do sort of a brown one as well. These can be spray painted, so if you want a funky and fun color like pink or red, you could spray paint these, let them dry, and then pop them right into your arrangement. Really have fun with these. I hope you had a great time making these and your arrangement today, and have a wonderful day.